Hi, my name is Andrea and I'm creating a series of videos sharing my experience volunteering in 13 countries in the past 2 years. In this video I will be giving you 3 pros and 3 cons of volunteering, but if you are considering volunteering in your next trip, I would also recommend you to check out the rest of the playlist because it's filled with tips and stories from my experience volunteering around the world. So starting with the positive sides of volunteering, in my opinion at least, the first one, I guess it's everyone's favorite pro of volunteering. It obviously makes traveling a lot cheaper. If you don't know what volunteering is or what I'm talking about, go back to the first video because I explain exactly what volunteering abroad means. But obviously the main pro for most people is the free accommodation. When you are exchanging your skills and your time, you get accommodation in exchange. So it makes traveling a lot more accessible because a lot of the time accommodation is the most expensive part of traveling. Besides, you can also get free meals in some experiences, you can also get free tours, you can also get discounts in drinks and things like that. So there are a lot of perks involved, and a lot of them are perks that will make you save money during your trip and potentially make you be able to travel a bit longer. Although I do like the economic aspect of volunteering, I am a digital nomad, so I have a job, I make some money working remotely. The economic aspect is nice, but the main reason why I started volunteering was because at the time, 2 years ago, I was looking for a career change and I was looking to learn new skills, both soft skills, so like communication skills, adaptability, flexibility and all that, as well as hard skills, and volunteering can definitely provide you that. So giving some examples of soft skills, a lot of my experiences volunteering were in hostels, so I was helping out in reception. I became a really good communicator and I became really good at resolving conflict. Also, sometimes you may have some sort of conflict with your host, and it's really interesting when you're volunteering because he's not your boss and there's no money involved in that exchange, so you're literally equal, so you can sit down and you can talk about any issues you might having, anything that you're unhappy about, and you guys almost have to come to an agreement. And that, although that seems terrifying for some people, I think once you put yourself out there and you learn how to do this, how to manage this conflict and how to talk to somebody in a way that is not aggressive to get your point across, I think that's a really helpful and valuable skill for life, really. Talking about hard skills, during the pandemic I lost my job, as most people did, and I started learning new skills. One of these skills was web development, so I had no experience whatsoever in it. I was just like taking courses online. And during that time I found a volunteer experience as a web developer. So there was a hotel in Lebanon who was needing a new website, and I took that experience. I explained to the host that I was learning, that I didn't have a lot of experience but I had the technical ability to do it. So I sat down, he gave me plenty of time, I created a website for him, I was learning on the go and like googling things that I didn't know how to do, and at the end of the day I created a beautiful website for him with booking systems, and it's something that I can use as a portfolio as well in the future if I want to work in this industry. I have also volunteered in a permaculture farm, so I learned a little bit about gardening. I have also helped in the kitchen of an eco-hostel in Estonia, so I learned a bit of cooking, like professional cooking and gourmet recipes and things like that. So there's a lot of valuable skills that you can use for your career, and you can gain them through volunteering abroad. The final pro for me is of course the network. I think it's underestimated what knowing people can do, and I don't mean like taking advantage of them, but I mean that now I look back and I have a little family in every country I volunteered in, because that experience with the host is so intense that you guys can get quite close. And I still keep in touch with a lot of them. If I go back to Lebanon tomorrow, I will have a place to stay. So this is really nice as well, like the connections you make and the networking you make through volunteering. Now, talking about the main drawbacks of volunteering, this is my opinion and my experience, of course. I think the first thing is that obviously it does require a bit of commitment and responsibility. The host is counting on your help and you can't just bail out as soon as you decide to. There has to be commitment and accountability. So if you say you're going to volunteer in a hostel, for example, from this date to that date, you have to do your best to make sure that you are there for those dates, that you are doing the hours, Of course, the host has to offer what was promised, but it is also the duty of the volunteer to offer what they promised. You can't just leave your host hanging because you changed your plans. So sometimes you will feel a bit like, oh, I wish I could go to that place, but I'm volunteering here now and I have to stay here until the end. So you lose a little bit of your flexibility in your plans while you're traveling. Another thing is that if you're using the platform that I use, which is Worldpackers, you will find that most of the hosts are hostels and hotels. They are hospitality businesses, and a lot of the time you might be living in shared dorms. I don't mind that at all. I even like it sometimes. However, when you do it for as long as I have done it, I sometimes take a break between two experiences and I rent an Airbnb just to have some me time. Because although people think that volunteering or traveling alone is a lonely experience, it's not. You're going to be surrounded by people all the time. And that might be a con for you as well. For me, it's more of a pro. But basically you will be living in shared dorms in most experiences. There are experiences that offer you private dorms. They will be less though, in Worldpackers at least, which is the platform that I use. I can't speak about the other ones. But yeah, that's a bit of a con, I guess, if you're doing it in the long term. And another thing that can happen during your voluntary experience is that you will be due to go to, say, Croatia next week, but unexpected things can happen and the host may have to cancel your experience. In that case, you might find yourself having to change your plans quite last minute. But one of the reasons why I picked Worldpackers to be the platform to help me during my trip is because they offer an insurance, and none of the other volunteering platforms offer this. In that case, if the host cancels the experience unexpectedly and it's very last minute, you find yourself with no place to go, the platform will cover 3 nights of accommodation, and they will also help you find another host by contacting them directly, by suggesting positions that you can apply for that they know are needing people straight away. That really makes me feel a lot more safe when I'm traveling, and if anything goes wrong, and it's never happened to me by the way, in 13 experiences I've never had a host unexpectedly cancelling on me in short notice. I've had them cancel maybe 2 months before I applied. But if these things happen, I know I can rest assured that Worldpackers will be there to support me. So that's it for me. If you guys have any questions about any of the things I mentioned in this video, you can drop them in the comments down below. Make sure you check out the other videos in the playlist because there's plenty more information about being a volunteer abroad. And if you're ready to sign up to Worldpackers, the website is below.